Hey everyone, welcome to New Mexico Rising. I'm Abby Max, and every week we're bringing you great stories, smart ideas, and cool people making a difference in New Mexico and beyond. Here's what we have today.
So when I came home, I started walking around the block, and then it was eventually 1, 2, 3 miles, and slowly it progressed to the point where I was walking longer distances. I was being recognized throughout the neighborhood a couple times a day, and I was given the nickname the walking guy, and that stuck.
The adults are playing for many of the same reasons the kids are, that sense of fun, that sense of escapism, even camaraderie and connection with other players.
All that and more on New Mexico Rising. This year's flu season has been one of the deadliest we've seen, especially for kids. To help families stay protected, we're joined by Dr. Candice Robinson from GSK and Magan Parks, a mom and Families Fighting Flu advocate who's sharing her story to raise awareness. Welcome, Dr. Robinson and Magan.
Thank you.
Hi, thank you.
Dr. Robinson, can you explain what the flu is and who's most at risk?
Absolutely. The flu is a respiratory virus that can infect the nose, the throat, and sometimes even the lungs. It's very contagious, and it can spread through tiny droplets when people cough or sneeze or talk. Now, while there are some people who are at a higher risk of developing serious complications related to flu, that includes older persons, those 65 years of age and older, pregnant women, young children, and people with certain chronic health conditions, such as asthma or diabetes. The harsh reality is that anybody can be impacted by flu, even people who feel healthy. And serious complications due to flu can happen at any age.
And Magan, how did the flu impact your family?
Yeah, so our daughter Kennedy was a vibrant, otherwise healthy 2-year-old little girl who suddenly passed away from the flu in February 2023. She had tested positive for the flu after developing a fever and some other flu-like symptoms. At that time, she was not vaccinated for the flu. We'd been really diligent about getting all of her vaccinations done, on time previously, but because her routine appointment fell outside of flu season, just right before, we missed giving her flu shot that year. When she got sick, we were instructed to rest with her at home, and just, monitor her breathing, and then, take her to the emergency room if things worsened. A couple days later, she woke up with a blue tint to her lips, and I rushed her to the emergency room. We got about halfway there when she became unresponsive and called 911, pulled over. Paramedics worked on her, but ultimately we lost her.
Magan, I am so sorry for your loss. Dr.
Thank you.
Robinson, what do people often get wrong with the flu or the flu shots?
Yeah, I think there are some common misconceptions that people may have about the flu. They wonder if it's worth getting a flu vaccine or what effects flu vaccines can have. But, the truth is, flu vaccination can help reduce the risk of flu illness, flu-related hospitalizations, and deaths as well.
And Magan, how did your experience lead you to help others?
Yeah, it's just kind of become our mission to ensure that no other family loses a child to a preventable illness. Um, at, at the time, we just simply didn't realize how serious the flu could be. We had no idea it could be deadly, or, and other dangerous, side effects you could get from it. So yeah, to honor Kennedy's memory, our family is dedicated to raising awareness each year, for annual flu vaccinations.
And Dr. Robinson, why is it so important to get vaccinated this season?
Yeah, the 2024-2025 flu season was really one of the most serious in recent years. We saw a record number of pediatric deaths and overwhelming levels of illness and hospitalization. But despite, widespread awareness of flu, we've seen that flu vaccination rates have remained alarmingly stagnant. And so that leaves millions of people vulnerable to influenza serious complications as well.
And Magan, do you wish what do you wish that parents knew about flu prevention?
I wish more people knew that the flu is a vaccine preventable disease and it should be taken seriously. I think a lot of times we say just the flu, and we were guilty of having that same thought. And it ultimately, in an instant, changed our entire lives. So just really want families to talk to their doctors about, or pharmacists about flu vaccination, and, it could save a life potentially.
And Dr. Robinson, where can families go to get more information and find where they can get their flu shot?
Yeah, flu vaccines are often available in healthcare settings like doctors' offices, but you can also get them sometimes in pharmacies, and in some instances, school or workplaces may offer them. What I think the important thing to remember is that everyone should talk to their pharmacist, talk to their doctor about flu vaccination today. And also, if people are looking for more information on flu prevention, they can visit cdc.gov/flu.
Megan, Dr. Robinson, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you
Thank
for having
you.
us.
Football season is here, and that means tailgate snacks and big flavors. Whether you're cheering from the couch or the parking lot, the right food makes every play more exciting. Joining us is Chef George Duran, TV host and entertaining pro, teaming up with President Cheese to share how a few cheesy upgrades can turn your game day snack situation into something unforgettable. Welcome, Chef.
Thanks for having me on, Abby.
Chef, how can people make their game day spread look more impressive without spending hours in the kitchen?
Yeah, one of the easiest ways to make that game day spread stand out, it's with cheese, of course. It's versatile, it's indulgent, and instantly elevates any dish when tailgating without any complicated prep. And for this tailgating season, I'm making President Grilled Brie. It's one of my favorites to serve. So simple, so delicious. You add your brie in a skillet and cut it in some cross hatches. Then add some fruits like apples, pistachios, drizzle it with honey. You can use seasonal fruits and ingredients as well. And if you're a pumpkin lover, you can use pumpkin puree with walnuts and drizzled honey. Once that's all put together, you pop it on your grill when you're tailgating at the stadium parking lot or in the oven at home, and serve it with crostini or baguette slices for an ooey gooey sensation. You can't be shy about this. This hot brie is a must try.
And what are some other fun ways to use President Cheese to add big flavor to favorite snacks?
Yeah, I love President's Pub Cheese Sharp Cheddar Spread. It's a whipped and creamy cheddar spread made with 9-month aged cheddar that is bold in flavor. It's perfect for game day snacking, dips, and it melts beautifully. I even love to serve this cheese warmed up and drizzled over nachos, or turn it into a taco nacho board to fully and truly impress your guests. But the beauty of this pub cheese is its high quality and versatility. That means you can spread it directly onto mouth-watering sliders to create a rich, velvety layer that melts into the meat and ties every bite together. It's creamy, flavorful, and a crave-worthy crowd pleaser guaranteed.
And do you have any quick tricks to keep entertaining simple and stress-free on game day?
Yes, of course. I mean, cheese is always my go-to for game day. It adds richness. It brings everything on the table together. It also pairs perfectly on a charcuterie board that your crowd can pick on before and during the game. It's also important to balance temperature with your cheeses. I say that a lot. That means keeping baked or melted cheeses under gentle warmth. For example, an insulated dish or a foil tent works wonders. Managing temps this way keeps everything tasting freshly made without having to babysit it at the parking lot or at your house.
And Chef, what's one dish you always make when you're hosting a crowd?
Oh my goodness. I love mac and cheese, and I can make mac and cheese in different varieties just by adding some sort of protein in it. Grilled chicken, bacon, you name it, just add it to the mac and cheese and it turns it into an instant full meal.
And where can viewers go to find more recipes or tailgating inspiration?
Yeah, all these recipes, you can find them at presidentcheese.com and find President Cheese at stores anywhere around you.
Chef George Duran, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks for having me on.
Kids can't always explain their pain, and sometimes what sounds like a simple headache can actually be a migraine. It's more common than most parents realize, and new treatment options are now offering hope for families. Joining us are Dr. Jennifer McVige from Dent Neurologic Institute and Lindsay Mang, a mom whose son has been through it. Welcome, you two.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Dr. McVige, how often do migraines show up in children and teens, and what are signs parents should be aware of?
Oh, thank you for asking that important question. This is a very recognized and undertreated disease state in kids, and it can occur in about 1 in 10 kids. the signs and symptoms may be there, but difficult, as you said, to recognize in a kid because they may not be able to verbalize things the same way that you and I do, but they still feel that same pain at the same level. They may present with light sensitivity, sound sensitivity, but just want to retreat to a quiet room. They may have nausea and vomiting, but they don't always have to have vomiting. This gets up to a moderate to severe intensity and oftentimes can cause them to have difficulty attending school or social activities or even, sporting events and things. And they're just not physically present the same way, even if they do go to those things.
Lindsay, can you share what your family's experience has been like?
Sure. Thanks for that question. I'm sharing my personal story on behalf of Teva. My oldest son started getting headaches during his elementary school years, but it wasn't until his 4th grade year to where we saw it become more frequent and the headaches to be more than just a bad headache. So we worked closely with our pediatrician, who then referred us to Dr. McVige's office. And we've been working with Dr. McVige and her team for years now. We explored possible triggers, the symptoms my son had along the way, different preventative treatment options along the way. And we did see some success with other preventative treatments, but my son was still getting 6 to 10 headaches per month. We have now started Ajovy as a preventative treatment option for my son, and he now is averaging only 2 headaches a month. So years prior, when he was getting more headaches, he would be worrying or stressed about possibly having to miss school or his sporting events or social events. So now we're at a point to where he's only getting a few headaches for a month, which is a huge drastic change. And now he's not worrying about if he's going to get a headache or not because he's getting so many less than he has been used to getting throughout the years.
And Dr. McVige, what does the latest FDA approval mean for treatment options?
Yeah, so this is an Ajovy, the medication that Lindsay was referring to, has been FDA approved in the adult migraine population since 2018. So this is tried and true and has been on the market for a while for our adult migraine sufferers. But thankfully, in August of this year, this has been FDA approved for pediatric migraine sufferers who have episodic migraine, which is headaches less than 15 days a month. From the ages of 6 to 17 years old who are 99 pounds or more. And it is a preventative treatment. So the goal is to prevent those migraine days as opposed to acutely rescuing them. So trying not to get as many headache days a month and be able to, as Lindsay said, try to live our lives. But we're grateful to have this this available to the kids because it is a disease-specific medication. It is specifically founded to be a CGRP inhibitor, which is calcitonin gene-related peptide, which we know is one of the biologic drivers for migraine production.
Lindsay, how has preventative care changed things for your son and your family?
Yeah, it's changed things for a positive, for sure, because the number of headaches he's getting a month now are only 2 on average. So now he's not thinking about, like, am I going to get a headache? Am I going to have to miss this? Can I not attend this? So we are in a great spot to where he is just living life and not having to worry about migraine headaches anymore. So it's really great to have a preventative treatment option that he has responded to so well.
And finally, where can families go for more information?
Yeah, thank you for asking that. They can go to ajovy.com. It's AJOVY, Ajovy.com, to learn more about migraine or specifically Ajovy and how it has been FDA approved now for pediatric migraine sufferers for episodic migraine.
Lindsay, Dr. McVige, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you. Have a great day.
You know, the holidays are all about great food, cozy gatherings, and creating moments that feel special, without spending the entire day in the kitchen. So joining us today is Chef Marisel Salazar, acclaimed food writer, recipe developer, and author of Latinish, here to share her favorite shortcuts and flavor-packed ideas to make holiday hosting simple and fun. Marisel, it's great to have you back on the show. How are you, my friend?
Thank you so much. You make me sound so impressive, Dan. Wow.
I'm trying. Everybody on here is always surprises me with this amazing work that they do. And it's got to help us out because the holidays, they're sneaking up fast. What
Totally.
advice do you have for getting started when you're hosting this season?
Okay, so food is my world, but I always tell myself, Marisel, you gotta start thinking not just like a cook, but like a hostess this season. What does that mean? Checklist. We're talking menu, timing, guest list, but also elements like lighting. What's the mood? The music. What is the room going to smell like? I love a good scented candle to put everybody in the mood. But at the end of the day, holiday hosting is not about being perfect. It's about making your guests feel welcome and, of course, trying to enjoy yourself too.
But everybody wants their holiday to like their sides to shine. What's an easy way to make those dishes stand out without adding a ton of extra prep?
Okay, I almost get more excited about side dishes than the main dishes. And to make them memorable without being too time consuming or expensive in this economy, I love using Del Monte vegetables. They are awesome for easy to make, bold, elevated side dishes. Their new flavors like Mexican style street corn and, get this, hot honey carrots really bring excitement to my holiday lineup. So I have a couple of really cool dishes for you here today. One is the hot honey glazed carrots. You can throw on some crunchy pomegranate seeds over that. It's a really good complement to beef, ham, turkey, and then we have the street corn salsa. It's a 5-ingredient recipe, pairs perfectly with tortilla chips because you always gotta, have snacks on hand, or you can use it as a topping to your favorite holiday protein. Your guests are gonna love it.
And you're also known for, let's say, creative sips and cocktails.
Totally, yes.
What's a festive drink or like cozy coffee pairing that guests will love this year?
Okay, so we're in full coffee mode this season, and I love nothing more than a great cup of hot coffee to really savor the flavor. My go-to is Don Francisco's. They are a premium 100% Arabica bean coffee. It's rich, so smooth, and they're made with over 150 years of family tradition and quality. So these folks know what they're doing. That's a long time. I love to take their flavored coffees like a butterscotch toffee, caramel cream, and vanilla nut and whip them up into my own recipes. So like this caramel cafe au lait with steamed milk, amazing. And the toffee nut latte, I like to add in a little bit of whipped cream and a dash of cinnamon. Easy, festive, and totally special.
And comfort food, it's like a must at any gathering.
Totally.
What's one go-to dish that you think every host should have on hand?
Okay, so I think we can all agree that macaroni and cheese is the ultimate comfort food. So I always have Bob Evans macaroni and cheese right on hand. It's warm, satisfying, and it's microwave ready in minutes. Their original and the bacon mac and cheese really just bring this home-style comfort to my table, making connection the centerpiece of my holiday celebrations. So I can actually talk to my guests and maybe enjoy myself instead of running around like a chicken with his head cut off. The original is made with 100% real cheddar cheese, gotta love that, while the bacon mac and cheese is made with a blend of indulgent cheeses but has that cool, smoky bacon flavor. So I have actually made the original mac and cheese my own this holiday season, and I have turned it into a cranberry and brie mac and cheese. It is such a showstopper, and yes, I have that recipe for you.
You said the words mac and cheese. My producer, Mandy, was in my ear. Yes.
Yes, awesome.
And before we wrap up, do you have any final hosting tips to keep things low stress but still delicious?
Yeah, totally. I mean, everyone's going to be taking photos of the food because, that's just the world we live in. So why not make your table extra special? I love using food as decoration to make an edible tablescape. So that means taking small hand-painted pumpkins and using that instead of name card holders for guest seating. Or weaving in dried herbs like sage and thyme into napkin holders for a cute festive twist.
All right, where can we go for more information and maybe even go pick up your book?
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I got you. For more about everything that we talked about today and for those recipes, check out tipsontv.com.
Marisel Salazar, thanks for joining me today.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Imagine being told you only have months to live and then turning that diagnosis into a mission to help others. That's exactly what happened to Eric Borstein, who was diagnosed with pulmonary hypertension. It's a rare and serious condition affecting the lungs and heart. Years later, he's not only surviving, but walking thousands of miles each year to raise awareness and support for others living with PAH. As we recognize Pulmonary Hypertension Awareness Month, Eric joins us to share his story and message of hope. Welcome, Eric.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Eric, can you start by sharing a bit about your story and how you first learned about your condition?
Yeah, so 5 years ago, this past September, I collapsed and almost died from right heart failure. I spent 16 days in the intensive care unit where I was diagnosed with a very rare lung condition called pulmonary arterial hypertension, also known as PAH. chronic and terminal disease, and a disease with no cure. When I was in the ICU, I made a decision that I wasn't going to die and that I was going to live. And so once I was stabilized, they sent me home and they told my wife that I had 2 to 4 months to live. I didn't know that. And so I came home and through what I call pieces of my pie, positive mental health, nutrition, exercise, and the reliance of my village, my family, friends, neighbors, community, I developed a formula and here I am today.
And for people who might not know, what are some of the early signs or symptoms of pulmonary hypertension?
Yeah, so the early signs are fatigue and shortness of breath. Those are the main signs. Unfortunately, it's an invisible disease. And so a lot of times it goes undiagnosed or misdiagnosed. And so in my case, and in a lot of cases, it can lead to right heart failure. And so when you're in heart failure, you have swelling of the abdomen, swelling of the legs and feet. And really, when you walk or move, it becomes almost impossible to breathe. And so what I tell people is, I wasn't ignoring the symptoms, but I was afraid to find out what was wrong. And it's not that I didn't want to go to the doctor, but I was petrified. And it got to the point where my wife even one night said, please go to the doctor. I don't want to wake up with you dead next to me. And so one of the messages is that, I learned that upwards of 75% of men don't go to the doctor when something is seriously wrong. And so please don't ignore the symptoms of really anything, because it almost cost me my life.
And you talked about the role your care team played in your recovery. What kind of support made the biggest difference for you?
Yeah. So I talk a lot about that village, family, friends, neighbors, community. But as part of that village, it's my support team. It's my cardiologist, my psychologist, and it's CVS specialty. When I left the hospital, I was put on a pump and the drugs were administered into my heart 24/7. And they never thought I was going to be able to get off that pump. So when I went home, CVS specialty has an in-home nursing care, and they sent home a nurse that came to my home once a week. And she was really a calming voice, not only for myself, but for my wife and kids. And she became part of the family. And so as I progressed and, over that period of a year, my heart made a better recovery. And after a year, it almost made a complete recovery and I was taken off the pump. But I'm still on oral medications, which I will be on for the rest of my life. And so CVS really has become a lifeline, between the medications being delivered on time to 24/7 access online for questions and an online pharmacist that I could talk to at any point. They've just become part of that village, which is so, so critical in anybody battling any disease.
And this is incredible. You're now walking thousands of miles a year to raise awareness and funds. Yeah. What inspired that mission?
So I learned early on that walking helped mitigate the side effects of the medications that I was on, and it helped with positive mental health. So when I came home, I started walking around the block, and then it was eventually 1, 2, 3 miles. And slowly it progressed to the point where I was walking longer distances. I was being recognized throughout the neighborhood a couple times a day. And I was given the nickname the walking guy, and that stuck. So then about 2 years ago, my kids came to me and said, Dad, let's start a fundraiser and let's raise awareness and money for this very rare disease that you live with. And so we did, and we started Where is EB? And so now every September we put on a 5K, and it culminates with me walking from LA to San Diego, 205 miles in 6.5 days. And it's all to raise money and awareness. And it's to raise money for an organization called Team Phenomenal Hope. And their mission is to serve underserved patients all throughout the country who need it most, who are living with pulmonary hypertension. And I'm so proud to say that in the last 2 years, we have raised over $420,000 for Team Phenomenal Hope, all to help patients who need it most living with pulmonary hypertension.
And finally, where can people go to learn more about your journey and how to get involved in the cause?
Yeah, you can go to cvshealth.com and you can go to whereiseb.org to learn more about my story and my journey.
Eric, you're awesome. And thank you so much for joining and sharing your story today.
Thank you so much for letting me share.
More people than ever are picking up a controller, and it's not just for kids anymore. From families gaming together to adults rediscovering their favorite franchises, gaming has become a holiday favorite for all ages. Joining us this morning is Scott Steinberg, tech and gaming expert, here to share what's trending right now and what players are most excited about this season. Welcome, Scott.
Hey, Abby, happy holidays. Hope you're doing well.
Good. Scott, these surveys show that gaming isn't just for kids anymore. Why do you think so many adults are part of this trend right now?
Quite a few reasons. We're seeing that gaming is becoming a universal hobby and that adults are playing for many of the same reasons that kids are, that sense of fun, that sense of escapism, even camaraderie and connection with other players. But also, I think some of it's driven by the continued technological advancements that we see in gaming. Because if you think about it, today's titles have movie quality storytelling, these unrivaled visual graphics, and deeply complex strategic experiences behind them. But on top of that, even if you've ever noticed, if somebody's sneaking in a quick game on their mobile device or they're unwinding after a long day at work online, you really see that gaming suits just about every lifestyle these days.
And with so many different games out there, how can people pick the right one for everyone on their holiday list?
Sure, fair question. I think the thing is not to think about it as shopping for gamers per se, since we know that everybody's playing, but rather to match the title to the person's real world interests and hobbies, because when you do that, you can't go wrong. So maybe you have like a history buff in the family, somebody who's a strategic thinker, likes world building. In that case, you're going to find all sorts of strategy and simulation games they might like. Alternately, maybe they're into Hollywood action blockbusters. You could always go with a role playing or action adventure experience. What I'm saying is that when you pair the title to the person's passions and interests, you're going to have no shortage of options.
And what are some of the new or most talked about titles this year that people are excited about?
Yeah, I actually have two of the top picks of the season that I think people are really going to love. One's a strategy game. One is this open world role-playing type experience. So let me explain. Right off the bat, we have Anno 117 Pax Romana. So this is the strategy game. It's all about building a city right there on your desktop or on your console, and it's set at the height of the Roman Empire. You play as the governor of a province, and you have to manage trade, juggle resources, deal with diplomatic and military scenarios, whatever challenges the game throws at you. So we've all read about or seen the Roman Empire on TV. The nice part is this actually lets you live out the historical period and control the fate of your own empire. But on the flip side, there's also Assassin's Creed Shadows. This is the latest in the iconic best-selling franchise. Guarantee you got a gamer in the family who's tried at least one of these before. And this one really kicks it up a notch because it's set in a living, breathing feudal Japan. So it's a sprawling, cinematic, super immersive Hollywood-style action adventure. You can try different heroes, different combat styles. If you want to go stealthy, you can play as the ninja Nawe. If you want to try brute strength, you can go as the samurai Yasuke. Basically, as you can see, games for just about everyone.
And when can gamers expect to get their hands on these new releases?
Well, the nice part is we know that gamers don't like to wait, so you can actually get them right here, right now, today. You can go to the store or you can download them to your computer or your console, and you're going to want to look for deals throughout the entire season. In fact, a little birdie told me that Ubisoft will even be doing a limited time markdown on the console versions of Assassin's Creed Shadows that players will not want to miss.
And finally, where can viewers go to learn more about what's happening in the gaming world?
First and foremost, I would go to ubisoft.com. That's ubisoft.com. You can find out all sorts of details on the games, watch trailers so you can get a sense of gameplay, or even grab some additional downloadable content that'll give you extra adventures as well.
Thank you so much, Scott. Great ideas for gamers for all ages this holiday season.
I appreciate it, Abby. Happy holidays to you.
That's it for New Mexico Rising. I want to thank you for tuning in and hanging out with us. You can catch more interviews and clips anytime at newmexicorising.com and on YouTube, or follow us on our socials. We're at New Mexico Rising on Facebook and Instagram. I'm Abby Max. Thanks for hanging out with us, and we'll see you next week.